right, guys, I got another one here. I'm going to talk about decorators. If you're a contractor and you're doing custom homes, it's almost mandatory to hire you a decorator. Now, what does a decorator do? Typically, what a decorator does is they help you figure out all the items that, like the color of the house, flooring, tile, stone, and all these things that you see, that you kind of just see, things that's probably not a structural item, but you see on a house. They help you coordinate the colors and all of those items so that when you build a house, it would all come together and then it kind of flow together as far as aesthetics. And guys, if you're doing a custom home, especially if you're a custom home and you're over $200,000, you might be at $300,000. I think it's just necessary. I usually just put money in the budget to hire a decorator to help with that because, it's going to be extremely difficult for the builders to have to keep meeting the homeowner and engaging and going back and forth with the homeowners to try to figure out what they like. And the last thing you want to do as a builder is you want to build something and you want to put something in, and then the homeowner come back and say, I don't like that. See, that creates problems. So if you hire somebody who has a little bit more expertise, builder, I can't see colors as a builder. I don't really care anything about colors and stuff like that. So, if I can't see that stuff, we need somebody that can see it. And so I think it's necessary. I think decorators are, depending on what price range you're in, especially if you're doing a custom house, which I'm trying to move away from. I think I like the spec game. I take a few customs, but, I would take enough customs to really pay for the specs, to pay the interest for the specs that I'm doing. But guys, if you're doing I think if you're doing a custom home, man, I think there's one thing that you should just go ahead and calculate that into your budget. It could be a guy or a girl. They come in and they coordinate all that stuff. And typically what they do is they meet with the homeowners, maybe set up 1 or 2 times. They meet with the homeowners and they pick everything out. It's a great thing, guys. It works out really, really well. When it works really well sometimes. Let me just put it that way. Sometimes it don't work really well, guys. And what you get into is, in most cases, the decorator, it works well if the decorator is on your payroll. If you hired a full-time decorator that works for you, that's when it works well. Because the problem in a lot of cases with the decorators is that they work for a flooring company or they work for themselves and they have relationships with the people that they get the products from, and every time, and they get their commission, and in most cases they get their commission based on the amount that they sell. Now you guys see what this right here is becoming a problem. It becomes a problem when that decorator have absolutely no incentive whatsoever to keep that cost of those houses down. See now, the builder and the decorator is actually working. They're working against each other. Does that make sense? The builder's trying to keep the cost down. The decorator's trying to keep the cost up. Because the more they can get that customer to buy, and the more expensive those products are, the more commission they get. And that's where the problem comes in. So that's where you have to be careful when you're dealing with decorators. If they don't work for you, if they're not working under your umbrella as a contractor. It's no different than a lumber guy, a lumber salesman. You go to a lumber salesman, he have absolutely no incentive whatsoever to keep your lumber costs down. That's why a lot of builders, they just go out and hire their own estimators. They can go out and they can sit there and look at how much it's going to cost me to build a house, guys. I just got finished doing the lumber package for a particular house, man, and I was spot on. Matter of fact, I had $700-800 to spare. And this was a house. It wasn't a big house, about 1,600 square feet, but you know, I was spot on. But I guarantee you, I feel like if I'd given that thing to my lumber guy, I would have been over. I would have been much over, and they would have put that lumber out there, and it would have sat on the site, and I wouldn't have been able to take it back. It just would have been a mess. So this is and the decorator is the same mindset with the decorators, man. You know, like I said, decorators can be great, especially if they work under your umbrella, work for you, full time for you. But if they work for, you know, they working for another company, they work for a flooring company and stuff like that, man, it's hard to keep them guys in check. You know, and not only that, they're gonna meet with that homeowner, and they're gonna work on their heartstrings. Especially if there's a marriage there and there's a woman there, they're going to get in there. And I guarantee you, man, if they're dealing with the wife, they're gonna always push them over budget. They're gonna push them over budget. They're gonna pick out a door, and it's never going to be. If I give them a budget of 4,000, they're going to come back with 4,800. They're just going to keep. And so now, as a builder, I already got a lot of stuff going on as it is. I'm already juggling other stuff and trying to keep other things in budget and things that you actually need. And, you know, like I said, the decorating stuff is not structured. So I'm juggling this other stuff. And I got, on top of that, I got to come in and I got to juggle this too. It's a nightmare. This is where you don't want to be. So you got to be careful with those decorators, guys. I'll tell you what, man, they can make or break you as a builder. They really can. Keep that in mind. You guys, let me know your thoughts. Like, share, subscribe. Thanks.